Welcome to the International Online Conference, Stability Within Uncertainty, with the sub-headline relating to qualities or competencies that are helpful or could be helpful, flexibility, surrender, presence, and initiative. And with us today is Philip Snow-Gang, PhD, among the founders, old-timers from the U.S. of Holistic and Integrative Education and Holistic and Integrative Learning, and the founder and director of an institute training teachers and educators in these perspectives. And hello, Phil. Good morning to you. Good evening for me. Yeah. And so maybe you can just briefly explain about transformative way of teaching and learning, and then we can inquire how that might be helpful in the here and now.
Thank you for the opportunity. I have to go back to the context of bringing together a group of educators in the early 90s to explore a common vision for holistic education. So we brought together these people from all walks of holism and education and created a document called Education 2000, a holistic perspective. And that document actually, with the intent of it was to give people a context for creating learning environments where the teacher and student were co-learners and there was a all-embracing context. So that all-embracing context is to know that we are humans, derivative of the universe, and if we're all part of the universe, then we're all interconnected and interdependent. And within that framework, we have the Earth, Gaia, and our systemic relationship within that. So after I traveled for many years with that message around the world, people kept asking, well, where could we learn how to do this and get a master's degree or a graduate degree doing that? And that's how we formed the Institute for Educational Study graduate program. And then we had to also create a process that mirrored those contexts, because it wasn't just telling students about systemic relationships, but it was allowing them to be part of the system within the systems to understand themselves that they are embedded in it. So that helps the classroom teacher create contexts for teaching and learning. It isn't just, math is not math by itself, English is not English, science is not science. We have to come at it from an integrated approach. And that's what is primary to my work.
So I wonder, we are now in a different world planetary situation that we didn't envision a virus would land upon the Earth and influence almost all countries around the planet, each country in a different way, and influencing not only the health ministries, but the education ministries in a significant way. And also people like you and me. So how can you say a little bit, how did the situation influence you? Your daily life, or your personality, your attitude, your mindset, your whatever you do?
It's a very interesting question, because I probably am 1 in 100,000 people that whose life has not changed because of the virus. Since the inception of our work, we designed a online campus. This is our 25th year, so our students are all over the world, and we deliver this program in holistic education through an asynchronous environment, which means that students post responses to required reading or viewing, share their ideas, and they each then read what the other's responses along with a facilitator and come to some general understanding of the subject at hand. So I'm still in front of my computer screen, which I've been for 25 years. The virus hasn't made any difference. Of course, I'm not going out in public. I walk in the forest and I carry a face mask in the car for grocery shopping. So other than that, I'm really not the prototype of the kind of person who can say it has drastically affected my life. I do know this, that we normally get together with our graduates in one place, and we couldn't do that this year. So we had a Zoom. Well, we've been Zooming with students and faculty for 6 or 7 years now, but it isn't part of the teaching mechanism. It's part of the community building. So at this Zoom graduation, one of the students said that their realization was that this degree was the best preparation for living with uncertainty in a time of chaos. In fact,
what did she mean? What do you think she experienced or realized?
Well, we actually talk about this idea of natural mapping of ecosystems, which are the same in a way as human systems, in that within every ecosystem there's a partnership function and a resource function, but there's a unity function, something that brings it all together, a feedback function, like in our case, in our community, it's dialogue, communication. But the two elements, the stability point was that our students felt very comfortable with the chaos because they had this online environment to come back to, and they felt, well, here I can stand in my truth and with like-minded people and be who I am. That was their stability point. And they understood that chaos is not bad, it's a growth point. In every ecosystem, there is a growth point. And in the ecosystem of human life right now, this virus is the chaos point. But it won't last forever, you know? It'll come back and something else will happen. It's all a system within a system that self-balances this, just like life has been self-balancing itself with the planet in a process called homeostasis for 4 billion years.
So back to, as we know, this conference is geared for educators in Israel, and education here is in a little chaotic stage with uncertainty. There is the online, so there is less face-to-face connection and less community. There is obviously difficulties in learning. There is the parents probably a little worried, and sometimes more than a little worried. Yeah. And the educators didn't learn in your institute. Businesses, they're supposed to do their business as usual, not teaching even in a holistic school or using transformative-based learning perspectives. But you're an elder. You've been in the Montessori teaching, in holistic and integrative learning. You've been teaching worldwide. You just finished a new book. And among the wordings of the new book is educating for right action. So I wonder, what can you say, almost like a tip, right action for educators in Israel? And you don't know them, so it's a guesstimate. But what might be helpful from what you think and what you can share?
The issue, as I see it with most state teachers, whether they're in Israel or in the United States or any country, is the difference between what the government says and what people know in their heart to be right or intuit the right way. So I think it's a dance. You have to, one has to hear what the state wants or dictates, but deliver it in a way that is humanistic, that is from the heart, that embraces love and understanding of each child's potential. It's not easy for people who have got the training and who are in a system where everything is, sort of in boxes. But I think, most public systems, I know, for example, in New Zealand, they're making tremendous progress with the line between structure and teacher initiative. So I don't know what it's like in Israel, but I think that the initiative of the teacher to try to create community amongst the learners is imperative. Now, it's much easier to do when you're working with older children, 10 or above, or high school age, because you can have dialogues. It's harder with the younger children, the 5 to 10s, because you just don't have that kind of, it's more pedantic. It's delivering information that they can use to facilitate their learning. But I would say that there's a way to do that as well that's experiential. So it's not just telling the students to do things, but allowing them to do activities on their own that embrace the new knowledge that they're doing, so that it's experiential as well as knowledge-based.
So if I know you've been closed to the Montessori system, you've been teaching it, you've been teaching educators to execute the Montessori teaching, and you're also beyond Montessori, maybe because of your holistic perspective, so you're not stuck in one system, and you try to be an integrator. So I will ask for last question relating to uncertainty, because I'm sure now it's because of a virus, but uncertainty is certain to happen in life.
Always.
And so I just wonder if you can, I don't know what instinctively you may want to share relating to your personal insight based on personal experience relating to uncertainty, working with it, or dealing with it, or coping with it, or learning from it, or as you say, using it as an opportunity.
It's a very good question, because in my personal experience, it starts with looking inward. And
looking inward.
Inward. Because the way I am in the world is dependent on the way I am with myself. So I have to have that stability point within me. And for me, how I help support that is through meditation. It's through walks or communing with nature. It's observing without prejudice. So that's suspending assumptions about situations and exploring my worldview and others' worldview with tolerance. These are easy words to say, but it's a practice that has been lifelong for me. So that when I get agitated, I mean, I used to be pretty fiery in my younger days and respond probably without thinking too deeply. But as I've grown and appreciated the meditative process, I've begun to, to look into my soul nature and understand that there's more than just my own needs at stake, but it's humanity, and there's really my soul to connect with other souls in a non-adversarial way.
Thank you, and I think we'll close our recorded interview now. So thank you for your contribution, and take care.